Happy Sunday, everyone. Today's cryptocurrency is Ecomi, ticker code OMI, that's O-M-I. This one's recommended by Detoxic, so thank you very much for your recommendation. Sorry about the delay on that one. OMI is a cryptocurrency that I'm really excited to cover because this is a very good example of why I look at the charts every day, because they can tell you different stories. And it's the whole battle of always fundamentals versus technical analysis. Which one's better, which one isn't? I say whichever one's making you money, just use that. But I want to illustrate this because I think OMI is a really good example of how things can turn very sour. Cryptocurrency has been up for 2-3 weeks now. The majority of altcoins and Bitcoin have been up, and I've shown that in multiple videos of cryptos that have gotten high, put in higher highs, or maybe not as high of a high as other cryptocurrency. OMI is the first altcoin I've seen that has actually been putting in lower lows and is still on a downtrend. So I'm going to walk you through my chart, what I see, what I want to see from OMI, and I'll compare it to Ethereum and give you some price predictions. Again, if you want me to cover your cryptocurrency, leave a comment down below. I've got a little bit of a backlog happening at the moment, but I add it to my Google Sheets and I'll be sure to give you a shout out. So thank you for your comments, guys. Really appreciate all the support, but let's get started with OMI against its USD values. So I've drawn my trend lines here, the top one being the resistance area. So you can see we found support on it earlier in January, and this is right around the time I was saying, man, OMI is actually doing pretty good because it was actually holding above its yellow 50% golden ratio. So again, big shout out to Michael and Jason Pizzina for that recommendation. This has been really good. I was saying, oh my God, OMI is doing fantastic. But then a few days later, I said, look, it's actually breaking down, and I'd be a bit cautious with it because it needs to bounce off its 50%, which was right around here in late, February 24th-ish. The red line here is the February 24th date. So that was the Russian and Ukraine invasion day. There was a lot of fear in the market. OMI tanked hard, very, very bad, but it got supported up immediately. And I drew these horizontal lines that for me at the time, I was looking at these areas for OMI to be able to find support on them. If it didn't, it would look really weak. It didn't. So found resistance at the upwards trend, wasn't able to find support at the bottom end too. And then now what I actually have to do is I have to get my trend and I have to actually readjust it even lower for another wedge that we might be able to see where we're going to break out from. You can see OMI is really, really struggling at the 0.25 mark there. And this is a really big problem because I only got 6 zones here, and most cryptos are sort of, most of them are sort of around this area-ish. They're sort of going between the 333 mark, 375 mark, and the 50% mark. You know how much I talk about the 50% mark. The 50% mark is really important. And no matter which crypto I look at, you will see some activity happening around there. So OMI, tell me if you can spot it. So it's right here. That's a area there. You can almost call this one too, where it did find some support. Of course, clean cut right through it. You don't really want to see that. Some resistance here as well. So that would come in at 0.0047 cents. And then you have another area here that would come in September. So you can see another resistance area there. You can see resistance and some support there, clean cut, which made it look really bullish at the time. So you can see how important that yellow golden line is. There's no point in me putting a very short-term 50% because no matter what I draw, it will be well below it because we're still in a downtrend. So I would not be touching this coin at all until I start to see at least that 375 mark tested at least. And hey, if it goes to its 50% and you want to buy its 50%, you've got a 50 to 60% return waiting for you potentially at the 50% mark. So there's a few things you're looking for when you're looking at your cryptocurrency, or what I look for when I am purchasing. So the first thing I look for is I want to see what is my downside to my upside. I need to be able to identify what is my risk to reward ratio. So say you're looking at OMI and you're saying, okay, I'm going to buy right now. Well, first of all, you're still in a downtrend, which there are plenty of other cryptocurrencies that are not in a downtrend. You want to be very wary of that because you're going against the trend. And every book I read talk about going with the trend. If you're going with the trend, the odds are much more in your favor. But if you're going against the trend, it's very, very dangerous, and you really got to know what you're doing because that's what the whales do. The whales do their own thing. We can't compete against that. So be careful. The other good thing about OMI though is that the volume does look like it's drawing up a little bit on the selling, which look, I don't want to call it because anything can happen, but I would feel more certain saying that OMI would probably, I can't imagine there being much more sellers in the market is basically what I'm trying to say, because we have a very high upthrust day. And then of course we never got up there. We tried for higher prices multiple times in May, in late March and early April, weren't able to get there. Then we had another upthrust day on the 4th of April, but look how low the volume is. Look how low these bars are. They're incredibly low volume, but we are still in a downtrend, indicating that we are waiting for a bit of a breakout to happen at any time. The thing is, we've tried for the breakout multiple times. So we tried here, and we tried here. but you can see multiple times we failed. It's really bad look for a crypto when it keeps trying for these higher prices and it's not able to get there 2, 3, 4 times, and then the downtrend comes because there's just not enough demand to meet supply and push up higher prices. That's generally what's happening here. So what I want to see from OMI, well, of course, I have to get to short term, which is this February 24th low. This was a very, very high volume day, and the fact that we can't even match that area there is a really big sign of weakness. So I really want to see OMI short term get to its 25 mark and start finding at least some support on this. I want to see it go above it, maybe test this trend and start getting above it and making headway to the 333 mark. Once we get to the 333 mark, of course, 375 mark, and then the 50% mark. Expect there to be heavy, heavy resistance. This is why I don't hodl my altcoins, because you can miss out on really, really big gains because you've just been hodling. You could have probably been sitting on OMI for 40, 60% profit, but you've just let it run its course. Now you will get another chance because this is cryptocurrency. We are very, very spoiled in this market because Bitcoin will rise all of the other altcoins. In any other market, that won't happen. But of course, if you don't take your opportunity, if you don't take the profits when they present themselves, then you're just left holding these bags that no one wants until the next cycle starts, and then you can sell them hopefully in the next run. So you just got to sit there looking at your portfolio negative for months sometimes, which is really, I can imagine the pain psychologically that does to you, and just to sit there waiting and hopefully you take your profits next time. It's not saying anyone's done that, but that's just the way I look at it, because I see people just hodling these coins, promising, in 5 years time they'll be worth $2 and you'll make so much money, but you're missing out on so much opportunity to take profits now. You don't know the future. You don't know. There might be another OMI that does something similar in terms of its VV store and in terms of its NFTs. There might be someone who does it better. It's a technology market. Remember, cryptocurrency is a technology market. There's always new players coming into it, new companies, new technologies, and all this crap is going to be old in 5, 10 years time. It's going to be the way we look at Ethereum, right? It's going to be very, very old, but it's not going to have that Ethereum sort of alpha omega sort of way where Bitcoin's number 1 and Ethereum's number 2. It's going to look a lot weaker because OMI is going to have stiffer competition with its marketplace. That's what I look for in terms of its fundamentals. On a chart, it doesn't look good either. It's a downtrend. So hopefully OMI can start putting in some higher gains. I wouldn't even start looking at these white areas until it can at least get, what was that? That's about a 78-80% increase from where it is. I wouldn't mind looking at this one just for a few more days because it looks like this could be one of those very, very good plays, because I can't imagine there being much more selling because of look at how low the volume is. It's really starting to match the low volume that we had in January. But of course, we had the big spike up in volume, and I can imagine a lot of people being liquidated at that point. So that would be all of this area here. Of course, we get the downtrend, and now only time will tell if this area is accumulation or distribution. We have to wait and see, but I think we'll find out in about a week or two if that's the case. But nothing wrong with waiting just to get that confirmation that OMI finds some support, maybe get some in, snag some up, take some profits at the 50% mark, and then see what happens. Then most likely I expect it to be resistance, like I said, and we'll be back on our way down. So a pretty good short-term trade, but we need that confirmation first, and then we can probably snag up some 40 to 60% short-term trades if possible with a low risk. But like I said, you have to look at the charts every day when you see something like this, because at any day this can just continue to go lower and start putting in the lows that we put in call it June and July last year, which was the last bear market period. Now let's compare OMI to its Ethereum value to see how strong it is. So here I am at CoinCodex. I ping all of these values to their Ethereum value. I know you're probably sick of me saying that, but there's always new people watching my video. So I ping all of these to their Ethereum value. You can see Ethereum 000. And I do this because Ethereum is a beast. A lot of people hate Ethereum. It's so slow, the gas fees. Ooh, this is completely irrelevant. I just look at what's going to make me money. And ETH is a beast in terms of how low risk it is in the cryptocurrency space and how good of a return it gives you. This is one of those hodls that you could hodl for 5 years and it will do great, just like Bitcoin. Everything else, you never know. Maybe Binance, I'd probably put in that conversation too, which you could just hold it for 10 years, maybe Luna, but everything else, I wouldn't be betting too much on it. Atom's really good, but you can see all these coins, how red they are and how much they struggle against its Ethereum value. So you can see XMR has been holding up pretty well against Ethereum. You can see HNT is not doing too bad. DeFi, I was actually looking at that one as well. These haven't been looking too bad, but you can see the majority of altcoins actually lose value to Ethereum, especially when you go on higher time frames. And that's just the reality. A lot of people don't want to look at it that way. They just want to look at their USD value. Here we have OMI Ecomi at rank 127, and you can see underperformed to Ethereum by 2.5%, not much. 7 days, outperformed Ethereum by 66%, or there we go, just ticked over to 44%, so it's actually losing more value. And then 1 month underperformed Ethereum by 50%, 3 months underperformed Ethereum by 50%, 6 months underperformed Ethereum by 63%, year to date underperforming Ethereum by 51%, 1 year underperforming Ethereum by almost 80%. So you can see that if you just hodled Ethereum, you would have done better. Now, it's not to say it always will be like this. It's not to say, oh, it's always going to be red. It's always going to be crap. It can turn green, right? But you need that confirmation. You need to show that the whales are interested in this, that retail have entered the market. So this is why I always say, take your profits. These aren't hodl coins, because you can see how many of these lose value to Ethereum in the long term. What I do is I just take my profits, I put some of them in more blue chip cryptos like Atom, AVAX, Luna. That's where I put my big bags into. But my ultimate, macro plan is always to accumulate more Bitcoin and more Ethereum, because they're the only two cryptocurrencies, like I said, along with Binance, that I really can say, if I just closed my eyes and I did nothing and I just held it for 20 years, those three I'm sure will do very well. Everything else, we don't know. There could always be new technology, new players entering the market, but those three, I'd feel very confident that those three will still be around in 10, 20 years time and do more gains. And there are plenty of other cryptos that have come out in 2017 and 18 and 19 that have not managed to put in the all-time high that they put in recently. So I know I'm being a little bit harsh on OMI. It's not to have a go at anyone, but this is just the reality of crypto, and I've had to learn this lesson the hard way. So have a look at things. If OMI is something that you own personally and you're down heavily, wait for Bitcoin to pump and then maybe unload some of your bags and just dollar cost average out. If you're thinking about OMI, buying OMI, wait for that trend to reverse and actually show an uptrend. Until then, I would be staying away from OMI and looking at other cryptos, because there are way better cryptos. I have so many videos on my YouTube channel talking about better cryptos, and OMI is definitely not one of them. So stay away from OMI. This is one of the worst ones I've seen, in my honest opinion. It's not to say it always will be. We can get a big breakout in the coming days, and then it's like, oh, okay, all of a sudden now, we've got some big players into there. Now this is the next thing that's going to pump. But at the moment, it's looking really bad. So steer clear of OMI. I can't stress that enough. Until then, everyone, hope you had a fantastic weekend and have a fantastic working week. But until then, stay safe, and I will catch you on the next video.